Hi everyone, welcome to Focal Point. We were talking about static scoping and dynamic scoping. So we have taken a lot of cases for the static scoping and the output of it. So the condition was if our local variable is defined and initialized, if it is only defined, if it is not defined at all, and if our global variable is not initialized. So based on that, the output will be different. So now we are going to see what is the concept of dynamic scoping, but we will not be able to test our dynamic scoping because our C compiler is using static scoping. So let's see what is the concept of dynamic scoping. So concept of dynamic scoping says that if this is our stack space, this is our static area where our integer a is initialized with 5, and this is our main function. We have called the function b, we have called the function c, and we have called the function d. So same as if we have defined and initialized our function in this function itself, where we are printing this integer a, then it will of course take that value. So this is the same thing that is used in static scoping and dynamic scoping, but the difference is in the static scoping we were directly, if is integer is not found, if definition is not found, then it will jump to the static area. But this is the difference in the dynamic scoping, that it will pop out this function and search the value in this function, because this function is calling this function. So in the stack area, the function below, it will search in the function below, it will pop it out and search in this. If it is not found, in this case it is found, but if it is not defined in this space as well, then it will pop out this function and search in this area. It will be found in B, of course, but if it is not defined, then it will pop out this area and we search in the main. If it search in the main, if it is found, then it's good. If it is not defined, it will again pop it out and then it will search in the global variable or static space. So this is the concept of dynamic scoping, that if if the variable is not found in this area, then it will go on this. If it is not found, then again go into this. If it is not found, then it will again go into this. If it is not found, then again. So this is the concept of dynamic scoping, that it will pop it out the function if it is not found, and it will search in the function below, or in the stack below it. But this is a problem because there's a rule that it is not a good idea to access local variable of some other function without permission. So this is not at all a good idea to allow other function to access the local variable by the another function. So this is a security breach. So this is not being used by most of the programming or compilers. So this is the concept which is not used by the compiler. So dynamic scoping is the breach of our local variable access. So this is a security concern. So dynamic scoping is not being used by the most of the compilers, whereas the static scoping is used. So based on the static scoping concept, most or many questions are being asked in the GATE and the different examinations. So we need to understand the concept of static scoping thoroughly. So if I just repeat what is the concept of static scoping and the dynamic scoping in a very short format. So static scoping is if our variable is not found in the top of the stack. If our variable is not found in the top of the stack, then it is a variable scope problem. Then the compiler will print the global variable or global variable value. So majority of the programming languages are using static scoping. And what is the dynamic scoping? So dynamic scoping is if the top of the stack, if the variable is not found in the top of the stack, then it is a variable scope problem, and then the processor will take the closest variable. That means it will pop it out the current function and search the variable in the stack below it, and it will keep on popping if the variable is not found, and at the last it will search in the global variable. And in the stack space, the local variable's default value is a garbage value, and in the static area, the default value of the variables is 0. So what is the reason that most of the programming languages are not using dynamic scoping? Is that some function should not be allowed to access the local variables of some other another function. So but this is the concept is being used in the dynamic scoping, and that's why this is the security concern of local variable, and that's why dynamic scoping is not being used because of the security concern. So this is all the concept of a static scoping and the dynamic scoping. We will see the examples in the static scoping in the upcoming videos. So you can also try these all the different cases in your system by yourself. So it will be more good practice, and this will be more clear to you. Thank you so much.